All right, page 37, lesson 5, translating coordinates, group 5, be quiet. All right, so it says select all the translations that take triangle T. So this would be triangle T. And I'll zoom in a little bit so you guys can see this a little bit better. To triangle U. So it says there may be more than one correct answer. I'm not quite sure what they're talking about there, but it says translate -3, 0. So that's this point right here to 1, 2. All right. And then they do the same thing with the rest of the coordinates. And so this is just sort of an example of translating a figure by coordinates. And then they say to translate 2, 1 to -2, 1, and translate -4, -3 to 0, -1, and so forth. I'm not worried about that. I'm also not worried about this reflecting points on the coordinates, something online. But let's look at page 39 really quick here. And what's it say to do? It says, here's a list of points, and I went ahead and marked the points, and you can do the same thing. One I do want to point out here is A. It says 0.5 and 4. Hopefully all of you guys know the sectors. I mean, this would be considered 1 and 2 and 3, and this would be considered 4. And A is 0.5, so we're not going all the way to 1. Remember, this is the x-axis. That's always the first point given in coordinate pairs. This is the y-axis, and that's always the second point in coordinate pairs. So A is 0.5, so I'm only going to go halfway. I'm not going all the way to 1. 0.5 and then 4. I'd go up 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you can see where I marked A. And you guys should be able to do the rest of those on your own. And it says plot each point and label each with its coordinates. So I'm labeling each of the points, and I've done that already, and you can see that. So I'm just going to kind of draw a line through A down there at the bottom. I've already done that. And then it says, using the x-axis as a line of reflection, plot the image of each point. Now, here's my transparent paper. You guys watch this. And remember, on a graph, the x-axis is the left to right, or the horizontal, and the y-axis is the vertical. All right? Now, again, I'm going back down to the bottom of the page here. It says, using the x-axis as the line of reflection, plot the image of each point. So, let me go back to this. So I'm reflecting these points across the x-axis. So that means when I turn my paper to represent a reflection, let's do B. I'm going to just put a mark right there where B is. All right. And let me pull a stick here. Let's see here. Miss Herrera, do you remember what this is called right here? Say again? Okay. This is called the origin. It's also 0, 0. It's called the origin. So anyways, here's point B. I'm going to reflect it across the x-axis. That means I'm turning the paper this way. I'm going to reflect it right across the x-axis. And so where does B end up? Well, the first coordinate is always the x value. It's -4. And then how far down is it? -5. So I could just put a mark right there, and I'll put -4, -5. All right. So you would mark all the other points and then again reflect them across the x-axis. Now, Real quick here, point D. What's going to happen with that? Nothing. It's going to stay the same. Okay? Going to stay the same. All right. So you guys should be able to do that. It says label the image of each point with its coordinates. So I did that. Okay. And then it says include a label using a letter. For example, the image of point A should be A. And what's that little symbol called right there? A prime. So I would label this what? B prime. So I want you guys to do A, B, C, and D here. All right. So let's move on. Pay attention. Next page, page 40. And it says, if the point 1310 was reflected across the x-axis, what would be the coordinates of the image? So let's just go back to this really quick here. And I'm not going to use 1310 because they didn't give me one that has 1310. But what I will do is I'm just going to use 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, comma, 2. All right. Here's my transparent paper. It's really not necessary. Here's my point. I'm going to reflect it across the x-axis. What's my new coordinate? Mr. Eastman, what's this coordinate right here?
That would be 2, -2.
Good. 2, put up 20 points, comma, -2. Okay. So when I reflected across the x-axis, what changed? Was it the x or the y? The y did. Okay. So, and if you think about it, any point that I would put here, let's say I had one right here. And what is this? This is -2, 3. -2, comma, 3. Let me reflect that across the x-axis. Where's it going to end up? Right there. What's the new coordinate? -2, 3. Oh, wait a second. Did that wrong. This was, yeah, -2 and 3. And this is now -2, -3. Again, which changed? It was the y-axis that changed. All right, how are we doing on time here? Good, 8 minutes. All right. So if point 1310 was reflected using the x-axis, what would be the new coordinates? So here's 13, comma, 10. If I reflected that across the x-axis, what would be the new coordinates? 13, what? -10. It's the y that would change. Then they ask you, what about 13, -20? 13, comma, -20. If I reflected that across the x-axis, what would my new coordinates be? 13, what? 20. When it's reflected across the x-axis, It's the y coordinate that changes. So we did 13, 10, 13, negative 20, and then I'll let you guys do 13, 570. Well, I'll go ahead and do it. So 13, comma, 570. Reflecting that across the x-axis, my new coordinate would be 13, what? Negative 570. Okay. All right. Point R has the coordinates 3, 2. Without graphing, predict the coordinates of the image of point R if point R were reflected using the y-axis now. So when we reflected across the x-axis, the coordinate pair, it was the y that changed. If we're going to reflect it across the y-axis, it's going to be the x that will change. So I'll let you guys do that one. And then it says label the image of R as R prime. What are the coordinates of R prime? Well, just put it down. Yeah, describe its image if you reflected something across the y-axis. You guys can do that. All right. Interactive version available. Let me show you this really quick before I run out of time here. It says apply each of the following transformations to segment AB. So I went ahead and drew it. Here's AB. First thing it says, rotate AB 90 degrees counterclockwise around center B. All right, so I'm going to rotate it counterclockwise. It said 90 degrees around center B. So I'm going to turn this so I have what would be a right angle, right about there. So I could put a point right there, and I could redraw it. Who remembers what this little symbol right here means? It means right angle. I wanted to make sure you guys understood that. Okay, good. And then this is kind of confusing to me. I wasn't sure what they were asking here. It says label the image of A. So I guess this would be AC. So now they're calling this C. What's the coordinates of C? Well, it's the same. It's right there. I don't know why I'm confused about that. So I guess it would be 4, comma 2, because B became C. I mean, that hasn't changed. Then it says rotate AB, again, this ray right here, this segment, 90 degrees counterclockwise around center A. So again, you'll use your transparent paper. This time, we're going to go 90 degrees around center A, and we're going, where are we here? Rotate AB 90 degrees, center A, counterclockwise. Should look like that. Okay. Questions on this so far, you guys? Now, I've got like less than 1 minute left and this video ends, darn it. All right. So really quick, just a reminder, not now, just a reminder. It says lesson summary. In the lesson summary, you guys, they're not asking you any questions. They're just kind of giving you examples of what we've been talking about. So this is the lesson summary. Here's some more lesson summary. They're giving you examples. So if you're kind of confused on how to do some of this, just refer back to the lesson summary. Then on page 44, here are the problems. Here are the problems. Starting on page 44. Here are some points. What are the coordinates of A, B, and C? So you guys should know what those coordinates are. and work all the way to page 46.